Welcome to the Teapot Reads. My name's Sam. I'm the Teapot. This is what I'm currently reading, and I am so happy to see you today. This is part 2, technically. I did a pre-unhaul video / weeding my shelves last month, and it was really great for me, and also you guys all seemed to really like it. I always intended to do all the other shelves, but it definitely motivated me to get to the shelf a little sooner, so this is technically part 2. This is not an unhaul. This is like a pre-unhaul. This is me going through my bookcases and determining if it is time to get rid of certain books or if I should sort of put them on a countdown of 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years. And if I don't read them in that time, then unhaul them. I'm trying to be a little brutal. You don't need to have watched part 1 or because they're like companion pieces. They're not like sequels, right? You don't need to have watched part 1. I'm just going to quickly go through the reasons I want to do this. If you want a little more of a discussion on it, I do talk about that in part 1, but it's definitely not necessary unless you're curious. I will have linked it at this point up above, and it'll be linked down below as well for easy access. But there's really 3 reasons I want to go through my shelves and my books and just prune them and weed them out. Number 1 is that I want my bookcases to be reflections of myself as a reader and as a person. I want my unread books to either be collectible editions that I find beautiful on their own, like their physical book itself as a beautiful object, or I want it to be a book that excites me. The idea of reading excites me, and when I see it, I think, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to get to it. I also want it to be full of books that I did love and that I can, even if I didn't love, I can point back at and say that was a book I enjoyed reading. I recommend it to you. I don't really want books that make me frustrated that I read it, or disappointed that I read it, or were duds, or have been sitting for so long I completely forgot why I wanted it in the first place. I don't want those on my shelves anymore. That's the big first reason, and I called it like the noble reason. And I think to some degree it is, because it's just sort of aligning my outward space and in general my outward presence with how I feel and think inside. Books are for me my greatest expression of who I am, and they always have been. I've always been a big reader, and my book collection is this thing that when I show it to people I get like both really nervous and excited about. It's very strange. Maybe. The next reason is money. I definitely have had a problem in the past with overspending on books. I've definitely gotten a lot better at it lately. I talk a little bit more about it in the sort of previous video to this, and I am actually going to dedicate a video at some point on how I've managed to slow down book buying and not feel like I'm missing out, because that was a big thing for me. It was this fear of missing out. It was this concern that I wouldn't have this thing that I really wanted. I am not just a reader, but I am a book collector. I do consider that as its own thing, separate to just reading. And I still let myself buy collectible books, but I'm a lot smarter about it now. But by going through and weeding, I'm sort of forcing myself to face some of these decisions that may not have been great decisions. And I'm also forcing myself to face books that I know more books in that series are coming out in collectible editions, and is it worth just buying that, spending the extra $30 to get a special edition if I haven't even read the first one? That's a big thing to really consider for me. And third, I think this is the most practical, which is literally that I am out of space. There is no more room on my bookcases. I have stacks around my room. If you've seen my bookshelf tour, you've seen these. I would love by the end of the year not to have stacks on my floor, by January to be stackless, minus my manga stack and my Mortal Instruments / Shadowhunter stack, because I really liked how those looks, but the Shadowhunter stack at this point has been piled with other books, and the manga stack though remains perfect. That one's fine, but I really just don't want stacks on my floor. They feel really cluttered, and it feels unfair to these books. Like, it's not a great way to show them off. Today we're going through my favorite bookcase. It's not 100% like only favorite books on here. That's not what it is. But I love how it looks the most. I think it is most aesthetically pleasing. And this is, when I was redoing my shelves the last time, I made it so that it was all queer books, or mostly queer books, because I didn't actually have enough to straight up fill it, or queer fantasy and science fiction. I didn't put literature on here really at all. There might be a couple that snuck on, but that wasn't really the point of it. And I just absolutely love this shelf. When I am thinking of books that excite me, most of them probably are on the shelf, which is something to consider. But at the same time, I know there are probably a fair amount of books on here that I need to be honest with myself and give time limits on. So yes, I will be adding all of these books to the Google Doc, which will be linked down below. You can check that out anytime. I will update if I read on it, because I don't think this will take super long. If it does end up taking long, I won't do the stacks today, but if it doesn't take super long, I'll throw the stacks in at the end of this video as well. There's not as much to go through, and I'm not doing manga today because that is its own little process, and I don't think I need to like put time limits on manga, but I will do the other stacks around my room if there's time. I am giving books either 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years, or I will just say that they are pretty much ripe for the unhauling. Like, it's happening, I just have to get to it. So let us get started. We're going to, I can tell you at the top, that's my Mortal Instruments / Shadowhunters collection. I love how that looks. I wouldn't take any of those off. I wouldn't unhaul any of them. I think they're beautiful. I also love this series. Maybe guilty pleasure, but I do legitimately love them. So the next shelf is going to be this guy, and I have to get a stool for it because, as you can see, I'm quite short. I do not even come up to height. This is not a Billy bookcase. This is, I think it's Hemna's is what they're called. And I would love to have a matching one for my classics. That would be a goal. Okay. My Locked Tomb trilogy definitely wouldn't touch. Expanse I wouldn't touch. And then moving Yukio real quick. I have here the Archive Undying. I'm really excited for this one. I will actually be reading this one really soon. I wouldn't touch that either. Then back here I have Docile and First Become Ashes by K.M. Spara. I really loved Docile. First Become Ashes was okay, but I do think it's like a great book objectively. The first book that is like shouting out at me as a contender is Light from Uncommon Stars. I have the ARC, and I actually got about halfway through the ARC and put it down and haven't picked it up in years. When did this come out even? It came out in 2021, and I haven't picked it up probably since mid-2021. And I think that's a problem. I am legitimately only going to give myself about a year on this one because I don't remember why I was having problems with it. I think I just didn't vibe with the writing, although I liked the story and the characters. And I do think that it is an important book. It features a trans protagonist as one of the characters, and people have compared it to Good Omens, which I did not feel. Like, I can see it on a very surface level, but I feel like, no, that doesn't really vibe. Like, the writing was nothing like it. The characters weren't really like it, so, but I'm going to give myself a year on this one, I think. I want to like it. I really do. I can tell you that. I'm rooting for the book. These are going to seem controversial. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I actually have the Illumicrate editions of the series. I bought this way back before Illumicrate even announced that they were doing them, and I never read it. I don't know if I need the paperback editions as well. I think I'm going to give myself 6 months on this one. And if I don't read it, I'll just get rid of the paperback. I will absolutely be keeping the Illumicrate editions. If I do read it in 6 months and love it and need to keep the paperback, I will. But the Illumicrate editions have the same covers, more or less, and I just don't know if I need both the paperbacks and the hardcovers, is what it comes down to. I do really want to read this, though. This isn't a mark against the book at all. Otherwise, everything in this stack is pretty good. Mindwalker by Kate Dillon is one I got in Goldsboro and wasn't super excited for, but then Samantha Shannon really talked it up, and so I think I'll give myself 2 years on this one, but if I don't read it, I do think I will just unhaul it. It doesn't really sound like a book I would like. It's not my kind, it's not my kind of book, but because Samantha Shannon was talking it up and she has a good track record with me, I'll give it some time. And then Seven Devils by Elizabeth May and Laura Lamb are two authors I really like on social media, but I haven't actually read anything by. This is an Illumicrate. It came, I don't know how many years ago. It's an older Illumicrate edition. I'm going to give myself 6 months with this one. That's a little hard, but I feel like it might get me to actually read it. And if I don't read it, I don't think I'll be heartbroken not to have this edition because they didn't make a matching sequel. So 6 months. Because I could always read it at another point and get the paperback. And I don't think I would be like, I mean, that's not great spending habit, but I don't think I would be mad about it, and I don't think I would feel like I have to rush to get the paperback or something. I can get off the stool now and go back to a regular height. We'll start with this pile. I actually just read She Who Became the Sun, and I'm gonna try to go to a signing, and I would get my ARC signed. I read Legends and Lattes recently. Spear, I think it excites me enough, as does Every Heart a Doorway. Raybear and Redemptor, and we're being brutal today, I think. These are the Illumicrate editions. I think I'm gonna give myself 2 years on these, just because it's not a series that necessarily excites me at this point, but I am trying to read more Black authors and more Black fantasy, and I also think they're beautiful additions. I don't know if I would just like keep them forever unread, but I think that 2 years would be a good mark. I can already tell you as well, the Priory books back here, not contenders for anything. That shouldn't surprise you. The Chosen and the Beautiful. It is about Jordan Baker, who is a character in The Great Gatsby, and I do love The Great Gatsby, and I think it's magical realism. It's just the historical stuff I don't know if I vibe with. R.F. Kuang does like it, though. I like the cover. I don't hate the cover. And it is Tor.com, and they have a good track record with me. But I have had it sitting for a while. I think I'm going to give myself 2 years on this as well. If I don't read it in 2 years, I get rid of it. Everything back here, I think, excites me. Adrian Tooley. Oh, Audrey Colehurst. A Fire and Stars. I've had this one for a very long time. I don't know if I'm still interested in it. I'm gonna look up Goodreads reviews, and I'll let you know down below what ends up happening with it. But I'm gonna look up Goodreads reviews, and if they're not great, I'm just gonna mark it for unhaul. And if they are good, I will give it 6 months. I just don't know. I think if it was an adult book, I'd be more interested. But seeing as it's YA, it doesn't actually sound super interesting to me anymore. So we're going to put 6 months for that one. And I'm also going to tell you, I'll put The Midnight Girls at 6 months as well. I think I just bought this because I was like, oh, it's gay and I like the cover, but I don't know if I actually care about this book. This was sort of a fear of missing out. But we're gonna do six months, I think, on this one. Over here is After Love by Tanya Byrne. I'm gonna give myself a year on this one. This would be probably a fun autumn read because I think it's a ghost love story. This New Year's Eve. Because I think if I don't read it in a year, I don't think I'm going to be interested in it anymore. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll switch that to 2 years. I'll look up reviews from that as well. And then Herman. And then back here, it's just Kushil and Sarah El Arafi's books. So then going down a shelf, everything here is perfect. I think, yeah, that's just another edition of Starless Sea. Let's do these real quick. Gwen and Art Are Not in Love is getting unhauled. Next time I do an unhaul. I was so disappointed with that book. It was terrible. The Fascinators. I've had this book for a long time now. It's a short one. I think I'll give myself a year on this as well. I do love this cover though. That is 100% why I was initially attracted to it. We'll give it a year. I'm not saying anything. This shelf makes me excited and happy. This is going to be, I think I will have time for the stacks, but this is going to be the hardest one when it comes to downsizing. There's just so much on here that I'm excited about. But let's see the next shelf, because there's already a series I know I was like debating about on that shelf. You can actually kind of see these bottom two. These are perfect, and it's Laini Taylor all back there. I wouldn't touch that. Regular Society of Witches, and Babel is back there as well. The thing here that I'm uncertain about is this series by Amanda Foody. I have read this one. It was free on Audible, so if you are Audible subscriber, you get this for free. And I just wasn't super taken with it. All of Us Villains, which is on a shelf below, I loved that, and I just did not love this one. It felt almost like a rough draft. Like it felt like an earlier book by this author, to be honest, and that's not a bad thing. I think if I had read this before All of Us Villains, I would have liked it a lot more, but I think I've aged myself out of it. And I do have the entire trilogy in hardcovers, I think I'm going to give myself 6 months to pick up King of Fools, and if I don't, I think I'm just going to unhaul it, and I might even fast track that decision, which is really a little heartbreaking because I was looking forward to reading Ace of Shades for the longest time. I remember hearing about it when it came out and being like, oh my god, that sounds like a perfect book, that sounds like so good, and it was disappointing. Partly I aged myself out, and that is another problem with not reading the books I own. I age myself out of them, and then I don't get to enjoy them, which is me. It's on me. I need to get better about it. Down here. Hi. What's funny is I've had these Kat Dunn books forever and just like haven't read them, but I refuse to get rid of them. I don't know. It's not even sunk cost fallacy. I just refuse. Here's one though that I've had for a very long time. It was one of my very first Goldsboro books. This is Wild and Wicked Things by Francesca May, which is also a Gatsby retelling. How about that? And it's gilded. It's very pretty. I just have not been interested in this one in a while. My thing is, Goldsboro almost always surprises me with how much I like them. I would hate to miss out and not like this book and then get rid of it and not be able to get my hands on it again, this edition. But I don't want to be sitting on it forever. 6 months doesn't feel long enough. 1 year almost feels too long, but I think I'm going to go with 1 year on this one. And if I don't read it, I just count my losses and don't let myself regret it. Truths need to be faced. The Book Eaters by Sunyi Dean. I actually have 2 editions. I have the Owl Crate, or the Illumicrate as well. And I don't think I need 2 editions. I did read this earlier this year, and it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm not a big horror fan. I don't think I need 2 editions. I'm gonna say that the Book Eaters, the American hardcover, is unhaul. I prefer that cover, but I like the Illumicrate edition as well. So we'll keep that because I like it more. Oh man, yeah, this is a hard shelf, but this is the one I need to face things on. This is Shelf of Shame. The Gilded Wolves. I have this whole trilogy in the Fairy Loot editions. I'm gonna give myself 2 years. If I don't read it, I'm getting rid of it. It's pretty, but I don't know if it's worth keeping indefinitely. Pretty. I think it would also help me determine if I actually like Roshani Chakshi's mixed results in the past, which I feel like I've talked about before, but I think this will be the series that either makes or breaks her for me. So 2 years on this trilogy, and I just need to read the first book in those 2 years, although honestly if I read the first book and like it enough, I should just go on to the next 2 so I don't forget details, but I know myself and I know that's not gonna happen. Oh my gosh. Some books that is like heartbreaking to face. Let's start with the easy one. The Ivory Key. I have a couple different editions of this because a couple book boxes did it. It's a pretty cover. I actually really like the cover. It doesn't sound like the most interesting thing to me. I'm going to give myself 6. I'm going to give myself a year on it. I'll give myself a year on it because I would be disappointed if I did like it and got rid of this edition. And then we have Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I can already tell you this is unhaul potential. I hate this cover. I bought it because it was a pick at work. I'm not interested in it. Multiple people have told me it's good. I'm sorry. It doesn't appeal to me. I don't know. I don't know why. I just, every time I read the description, I'm like, this just doesn't interest me at all. So that will be unhauled. Another one that's unhauled mostly for completely different reasons, not mostly, just absolutely, is the Bone Shard Daughter. Before You Freak Out. I just have special editions of this coming. I got the Fairy Loot special edition, so the paperback will be unhauled. I don't need it. I haven't read it, but it does excite me. So yeah, it's just, I don't need the paperback. It's not important to me. I don't think the cover is that pretty, and the Fairy Loots also are retaining that aspect of the cover. Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. This one was one of my most excited, anticipated reads when it was announced, but books 2 and 3 just don't excite me in the same way. I'm going to give myself a year on this one because I don't want to miss out on the opportunity, but only a year, I think. It sounds good. I will say that. But I think I'm aging myself out of it. And after a year, I think I can move on from it and not feel too much regret. And City of Dusk. Fairy Loot says they're doing a matching edition. This is the Fairy Loot edition. I really do want to read this. I'm actually going to give myself I'll give myself 2 years on it. But because I'm certain they're going to be announcing their matching edition soon, I might end up reading this very, very soon to determine if I need to buy the second one. But this one does legitimately excite me. It's pretty. 2 years. 2 years. 2 years is probably too much leeway, but it's gonna be 2 years. Okay, I'm gonna pull you all the way down, and we're actually gonna look through the ARC shelf, and it's got graphic novels on there as well, but those have all been read. I just have to find a different home for them. We're just gonna look at the ARCs because I do want to clear the shelf off completely, and I am gonna put this stuff mostly probably in my closet, but it's not at the point where I can do that yet. So let's just look at the ARCs, which are wedged in there. I have Thief, Liar, Lady, and D.L. by D.L. Soria. This is a Cinderella retelling, and I absolutely love Cinderella retellings. They're literally my, like, favorite retellings. And I don't have any plans to have a finished copy of this book, so I think I'm good to keep the ARC, even though it is out. It just came out. Similarly with The Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Bulham, I've had this ARC for ages and I haven't read it, but I don't have plans to have a hardcover or a finished copy of any sort, so I may as well keep the ARC. And this will probably, if I like it and end up keeping it, oh my gosh, there's a cat. Wow. If I do end up keeping it, I'll probably just keep the ARC edition. The Pariah by Anthony Ryan, I have had for ages as well. I'll keep it because I don't have any other editions, but City of Dusk, as you just saw, I have a final copy, and I don't have any reason to keep this ARC. It's not like collectible at all. It's just, I'm just gonna get rid of it. Don't need the ARC. I don't need it. That's unhaulable. Lost War by Justin Lee Anderson. I'll keep this as well because I was actually excited for this ARC. Ordinary Monsters. Was super excited for this one. I think it was on my other shelf. I don't remember if I gave it any like time limit. I will just keep holding on to it based on whatever the other one said. Stardust Thief. I think this ARC is unhaulable because I literally have a finished copy. Notorious Sorcerer. I waver between thinking, yes, this is exciting, and no, it's not, but I think it's an okay ARC. I think I'll give myself, though, like a year on this one, and if I don't like it, I think I will just get rid of it. Okay, Age of Ash by Daniel Abraham. I have a finished copy. I don't need the ARC. I think I would just get rid of the ARC. Justice of Kings. Same thing. I have a finished copy. I don't think I need the ARC. I think that's unhaulable. Like I said, this isn't an unhaul video. I'm not getting rid of them today. But these are all, like, consider them being unhauled. When I do a final unhaul video, you'll actually get to see the come through. They will be unhauled all the way. Wildwood Whisper by Willow Reese. I'm going to give myself a year just because it does give me somewhat Emily Wilde vibes. So a year. A year on that one. And also because it's Emily Wilde vibes, Fairy Bargains of Prospect Hill by Ramona Miller, a year. Empire of Exiles by Erin Evans. This obviously isn't the final cover. I think 6 months. I'm not really excited for this one anymore. I was at the time when I requested it, and I'm just not. So, 6 months on you. Inheritance of Orchida Divinia. I've had this one for a long time as well. I think 2 years is fair because I think I could end up really liking this one. It might be a really good autumn read, but it'll, I think, come to a point where if I don't read it, I will just have to, like, when did it even come out? 21. If I don't read it, I think I'm just going to have to move on and accept the loss. Like, I didn't read it. Book of Gothel. Oh, man, I've been sitting on this one a lot, too. I don't know if I care anymore. It's compared to Wicked and Spinning Silver. It's, you know, Rapunzel told from the witch's perspective. I loved Spinning Silver. I'm gonna give it 6 months. I feel like if I don't read it by then, it's a loss. I'll take it. Ballad of Perilous Graves. Man, this one, again, in turns excites me and doesn't. It seems like a very summery book. It seems like it'll be a fun book, to be completely honest. It sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. I think I'll give myself 2 years on this one and then take the loss if I don't read it. Far from the Light of Heaven. I don't know why I was like super excited about this. I don't even remember what it's about. I will say a year on this one. KKE, you know, I would have given myself a time limit, but someone at work actually strongly recommends this, so I'm actually not going to. I'm just going to let this keep sitting for now. Certain Dark Things. This is going to be dependent on the Goodreads reviews. If it's good reviews, I'll give myself as long as a year. If it's not, maybe 6 months. Maybe just immediate unhaul. I don't know. But Bindle Punk Brouhaha, I honestly didn't even want. I was kind of like peer pressured into it. I'm just going to get rid of it. And I am actually going to do 2 of my stacks today. I'm going to do this stack, which is mostly Shadowhunters, but does have some arcs and some other books that have leaked onto it that I would love to get onto proper shelves. And my middle grade pile. Although I don't know if there is anything in that pile I would get rid of. I do want to go through it. That's what this is for. This is discovering if I want to unhaul things. Here we go. You know, we'll do the romance pile today as well. So the only one I won't have done is mystery thriller. I'll get that a different day. Here we have Fourth Wing. The review, you'll get that soon. And that's going to be, yeah, after that, it's going to be on hold. Priory, I just want to move. I definitely want to keep those. This is a bag of books I'm currently reading. Behind that, I have my Legendborn stack, and I think it's just Legendborn and Bloodmarked. I don't think there's anything else. No, because then it goes into Shadowhunters. I just really want to get those on a shelf. But over here, we have Lee Bardugo, Grishaverse stuff. I will keep those. I'll probably just put them in collections. Night Angel Nemesis, I'll keep. I love the Night Angel books. I just haven't read that yet. Immortal Longings, I'm giving myself 6 months. If I don't read this, I'm unhauling it. Not even convinced I'll like it. Foxglove King, I have 2 final editions of it, so I think this is probably just going to automatically go into unhaul. Translation State by Anne Leckie. I really want to read this. I don't have the final copy of this yet, so this one I will give myself as long as I need. So No Worry and Jasmine Throne, I will probably unhaul this as well because I have the Illumicrate edition. We're gonna have to close the door, I think, to make it easiest. So we'll just close that all the way and turn our attention here. Let's do romance first because it's like right there. Illumicrate calendar. So the Cat Sebastian books I've read and I enjoyed. I'll keep those. Grace Burrows, my one and only Duke. If I don't read this one, give myself 6 months. If I don't like it, we're going to get rid of that. Brave New Earl. Love the title. We'll do a 6 month as well. But for Lessons in French, I'm going to give a year. So Lessons in French, this is going to sound so stupid. But I would walk past this book every day at work and it was just like faced out staring at me. And I finally picked it up. So I'm going to give myself a year on this one. I just feel like I might love it. I might hate it. The last historical romance I tried to read, I think I unhauled right away. Lexus Hall, you're perfect. You're fine. I'm not even worried. However, I liked the other Cat Sebastians. But the Queer Principles of Kit Webb and the Perfect Crimes of Marion Hayes, I think I'm going to give myself a year on these. And if I don't read them, I will get rid of them. I'm interested in this one still a little bit, but even then not super, super interested. So I think there just might be time. Just might be time. Georgette Heyer, I'll keep because I do want to keep her in my back pocket. Give her a chance. Siren of Sussex, I will give myself a year on this as well. I was in a big historical romance mood and I do still like it, but I found my niche and it's very particular. It's basically just Alexis Hall. Anyway, Bringing Down the Duke. So Eve Dunmore, I'm going to give myself a year to even read Bringing Down the Duke and then determine if I want to keep them. I'll give 6 months to Mr. Malcolm's List because I'm not even convinced I'm still interested in that one. Frontier, I just bought this to support a paranormal romance. Once More Upon a Time by Roshani Chachki. Give myself... I'll just keep this. It's probably cute. Dead Romantics, I wouldn't touch. Casey McQuistion, I'll keep them as well. What else in this pile? Nothing else, actually, in this pile. I think I'm happy with everything else there. The historicals might end up disappearing if I don't read them in 6 months. Ooh, overbuying. I do like historical romances, though. I do. If you have really good queer positive ones, please let me know. This is literally my favorite. historical romance. Not that I think there's anything like that on the market otherwise, unfortunately, but if you know of one, please let me know. And then for middle grade, these are picture books. I would love to move these somewhere else. This is Anne. I'm not going to get rid of Anne. She's perfect. First Test by Tamora Pierce. I just picked this up. So we're going to keep that. The Grace of Wild Things by Heather Fawcett. I just did not love this the way I wanted to, which is such a shame. It's an Anne of Green Gables telling by Heather Fawcett. So that should have been perfect. I am going to be brutally honest and probably get rid of this one. By Ash, Oak, and Thorn. I'm really excited for this one. I'm nothing. Moments. Never-ending Story. The Weston Game. Ooh. Yeah, this was like super recommended to me. I will give this 2 years, I think. I'm kind of in the mood for this kind of book right now, so I might actually read that soon. Green Glass House. Letter for the King. Ooh, Pinch of Magic. Completely forgot I had that. So this is a sign. If I completely forgot I had it, I think I'm going to give myself 6 months. If I don't read A Pinch of Magic, I will, I'll get rid of it. And yeah, that's it. So this was definitely a shorter version than... Ooh, we're going to reorganize these as I speak. This was definitely a shorter video than the last one. I thought it would be a little more, but I understand why it wasn't, because I'm excited for so many of the books on that shelf. But yeah, the twin shelves, they're going to be probably brutal. Probably. I shouldn't speak too soon. And classics is going to be hard. I think I'm going to force myself to cull the classics. I don't remember if I was talking about my goals at the beginning of this video or in a vlog I was doing, but I want to get down by the end of 2024 to 4 bookcases, my classics, and get a proper bookcase for them. This one that we just did today, and then the 2 matching ones. I don't necessarily want to get rid of every other book that's not on showcase in my bookcases. I just don't want them in my room, or I don't want them in my room where I can like look at them all the time, because I just feel a little overwhelmed. I am currently working on cleaning my closet and making space there, as well as obviously these videos are helping me figure out what to unhaul. I feel like if this was a library, a room dedicated to books, that would be one thing. Like, this would be like perfect and magical, but it's not. It's my bedroom, and I don't want to feel like swallowed up all the time. So that's kind of the goal. It's not necessarily the unhaul goal. It's just a goal moving forward. And maybe 4 shelves is too little. Maybe I'll do 5. Maybe I'll put like shelves on the wall. But it's got to change. Something has got to change for me personally. Or maybe I'll move out. I don't know. Doesn't seem super likely at the moment. But we shouldn't discount it completely, because I don't want to discount it completely. If you watched this, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you're a subscriber, special thank you. It's so great that you're here and that you keep tuning in and that you're interested in what I have to say. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, because I would, let's be honest, like to hit monetization so that I could start saving up for a proper camera to use. I think that'd be really exciting. I post at least weekly bookish videos. I am trying to hit 2 videos a week. So if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. If you're somewhere cold, I hope you're staying warm. If you're somewhere warm, I hope you're staying comfortable. And most of all, I hope you're reading a great book. I will see you guys next time. Bye!